The David Bentz Show is brought to you by the following sponsor. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to the David Bentz Show. And here's your host with the most, David Bentz. Yeah, that's right, guys. It's good to be back. It's good to be back. It's good to be back. Alright. And that, of course, is my band, David Bentz 5, one of the hottest bands here in California. Alright. Well, today, my dear friends in the audience, today is a very special day for the David Bentz Show, because today is the first day, the very first episode where we will be branching out outside of our box of CWS. Now, you know I'm a big fan of call wrestling, and that's what this show is all about, call wrestling, the controversy amongst it. And so today we have with us someone very special, someone who, like the chairman of one promotion, he took all he had and he just went into it and created his own call federation. This man is a great man, none other than the one and only Mr. 105, Socko105, the promoter, the chairman, the one and only owner of AWF. Yeah, Mr. 105.
Oh, thank you all out there, and thank you to you, David Bentz, for having me on the show.
Yeah, the last time I saw you, you happened to be representing a different company at the time, and I was quite shocked to find out that one person wrestling for one organization is also an owner of another, and so that is very impressive. I have to give you a lot of respect for that.
Oh, well, thank you.
Yes, so what I have to ask is, first tell me a little bit about yourself.
Alright, well, Socko105.
Okay.
I've been in the call wrestling business since a very young age.
Would you say you were born into it? Would you say you were born into it?
Yeah, I guess I would say that. I mean, my uncle had a interest in call wrestling. He had his own show. Now, it was very short-lived, but I took it upon myself to make my own call show, and I think I've been pretty successful. And I've ever since AWF got really successful, I've gone out to other call shows to do commentary and wrestle for other shows. I mean, I have become very hated by some people, but I mean, that doesn't bother me.
That's true. Now, in regards to your company, can you you see, I've just gotten into AWF in regards to interest, and I'm very curious about it. I wanted to know, like, tell me what makes AWF stand out in comparison to other companies that I've heard about, such as AWF Honor or CWS or any others like that. What makes AWF stand out as this is a must-watch show?
The AWF has the best talent, in my opinion. I think we have the best talent of the present and the future that every member of the audience would enjoy. We have the best high flyers, we have the best big guys, we have the best technical guys, and we have guys that have all the tools. It's not just those couple guys that are really good and you can't wait to see. I think just about everybody in the AWF, even the small lower card guys, have many fans and people want to see them. And I think that's what some other call shows lack, that they put a lot of effort towards their main adventures, and don't get me wrong, that's very smart, but they don't give they don't allow the fans to become big favorites of some of the smaller talent, which I allow and encourage, and I think it's more fun to watch. The AWF also has a very edgy product. We don't go too edgy to the point where it's inappropriate, but we are edgy, and we have some storylines that, I mean, you just can't believe what just happened. It's unbelievable what has happened at AWF and what has yet to come.
Okay. Now, of course, every company they've done different things in regards to promotion. I know you have great commercials. Your commercials are awesome. But have you allowed your superstars to branch out and do other things, like maybe appearances in movies, or like I know that, for example, in CWS, one of their main stars at the time, Mr. Von Hollywood, he was allowed to write a book, and I did take the time to read that book. Success in Cash was a bestseller. I wanted to know if anyone within AWF has taken the interest into literature or anything else.
Well, yes, we encourage talents in the AWF to do things outside of the AWF as long as it follows their contract. If they do something that their contract does not allow, obviously I don't encourage that. But if a call likes to write a book, do a movie, whatever the case may be, if their contract allows it, even some contracts allow them to compete for other call shows, I encourage that, because I want my talent to have a good time and have fun doing call, but also do some other projects that would interest them and maybe even help AWF when it comes to revenue and viewership.
Well, that is very interesting to hear. Now, we will be right back to discuss none other than Inside the Roster. We'll be right back after these commercial break. So sit back and relax, Mr. Socko, and
right.
We'll be right back. How was that?
Hey, where the hell is everybody? I hate Reno. What the hell are you looking at?
Sir, can I help you?
Yeah, you can help me. What do I have to do to get a snow cone around here?
Sir, this is a bank.
Is this you? Are you a stumbling, fall-down drunk?
Hey, what button do I press to talk to the animals?
Honey, you're in an elevator.
Fuck you!
If your life consists of waking up, having a drink, going to work, sneaking some hooch in the break room, and then drinking until you puke in your desk drawer, then you already know about Brown Baggers, Stillwater's premier source for all your liquor needs year-round.
Ho, ho, ho! What's your name, little girl?
Justine!
Here, Santa got you a bottle of scotch.
But it's empty!
Fuck you!
For the holidays or any time, Brown Baggers got you covered with all the liquor you need. Stop by today.
It's the debut release from Macho Man Randy Savage. Listen to him throw down with such songs as Let's Get It On and Be a Man. Macho Man Randy Savage on Big 3 Records.
Cause Hulk Hogan is a real big punk. MachoMan.com on your CD-ROM. Ooh, yeah!
Call 1-800-254-5433 to order now and receive a limited edition poster.
Yeah. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we are back to the David Bentz Show. I, of course, am David Bentz, and with me is none other than the owner of AWF, Mr. Socko105. Now, first off, I have to say, before we get into the topic at hand of the roster, I do want to know, what are your connections with other call companies?
My connections?
Well, not too detailed because I know certain things are secrets, but like,
yes.
which ones do you say you have a very strong bond with?
I'd say the companies I have a strong bond with include CWS, obviously, because I compete there as a wrestler.
Mm-hmm.
GCW, I currently compete there. Well, I don't compete, but I commentate. I've been one of the top heels over there in commentary, but I've been looking to get a role in wrestling over there with GCW once it gets back and rolling.
Okay.
BYU, everything is good there. Actually, one of our AWF talents is thinking of going over there for to work with both companies.
Okay.
And there's just some other companies, but those are just a few which I have some good connections with.
Okay. Well, I've taken a look inside some of the roster spots on your current roster, and I've seen certain names that I've seen other places. I know what some companies tend to do is they tend to reinvent a wrestler. You know, they give them a different gimmick or something like that. But it was very interesting to find out that certain people, like for example, Call of Honor's alumni, formerly Bully Nate, is amongst your roster as Bully Nate, not another name. I wanted to know, like, was that personally your idea to keep him in that character, or did you want to, or like, was that his own personal thing? Like, is that what is your take on that whole thing?
Well, Bully Nate, he right now currently really isn't doing too much in call. I mean, he's, as Nate the Great in CWS, he's injured, and things with Call of Honor weren't, too great. So he's been wanting to come over to AWF for a while now, and
Mm-hmm.
I really wanted Bully Nate to come. It's just in the past the time wasn't right.
Okay.
But now the time is right, and although there are some people who are not too happy about it, because Bully Nate is a controversial figure, and he knows that.
Okay.
But I mean, everyone's, as far as I know, is willing to put up with them.
Okay.
And they better.
Right, I understand that, but the main topic at hand in regards to this question was, like, do you prefer to reinvent characters, or like, do you sign them to be the character that they were somewhere else at your promotion, or is it all just contract negotiation wise? Like, for example, if they're in more than one Fed and they're signed to a certain Fed, as like, for example, the character in CWS known as The Extreme, for example. I know he's not the most popular, but he just recently signed a deal with CWS, from my knowledge, that excludes him from competing as The Extreme anywhere else. And so if he were to compete somewhere else, he would have to change his name, his basically everything. And so it's like, is it more so with you guys over at AWF, if someone started out there, if that was their very first fed place, like, are you open to being like, hey, go where you want as yourself, or would you prefer, no, you are AWF property, if you're gonna go somewhere else, change your name or something, unless you became like this mega superstar. Like a perfect example is WWE and TNA. Like for when in WWE you had in TNA you had America's Most Wanted, which was James Storm and Wildcat Chris Harris. When Chris Harris was released and went to WWE, instead of letting him keep his name, he was changed to Braden Walker or something. And so it's like they wanted to reinvent him. And so, like, I just wanted your personal take on all that.
Well, when it comes to talents coming in, as long as they are contract-wise, because I know some companies, including AWS, have this thing where we don't want you using your gimmick outside. As long as the contract beforehand allows it, then I'm fine bringing in a character that's used the name before, or used that character beforehand.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I just like to change it because I don't like their character.
Right.
And for AWF talent, it just depends who the talent is. There are some people in AWF who, if they decide to leave and go to another company, they can use their name. But there are certain people that, if they wanted to use their name, if they got released or decided to quit, they'd have to use a different name.
Okay, I understand. Now, tell me a little bit about the most recent event that has happened in AWF, the most recent show.
King of the Ring.
Okay, tell me a little bit about King of the Ring and how that worked out. I've heard different things in regarding to a man who has been universal no matter where he went, Mr. AJ Young, and his accomplice at the time. I heard that he was allowed to compete that day, but he afterwards he would be suspended.
Actually, that was for NWO For Your Life.
Okay. I knew it was one of those two, but those two are an alliance.
Yes.
Okay. Tell me a little bit about what was the purpose behind all that, and I know that was a big deal.
Oh, behind the whole suspension?
Yes.
Basically, NWO For Your Life, he was signed in to AWF a few months back,
mm-hmm.
and he immediately decided to run his mouth against AWF management.
Mm-hmm.
He recruited AJ Young to his little group, and they've been taking shots at myself and top superstars, and at first I ignored it, and I felt he would just drop it eventually, but he kept going at it, and he was actually getting pretty popular with the fans. And that's why I didn't do anything like suspend him or fire him before that, but it got to a point where it was too much, and I had to suspend him.
Okay.
Now, he was allowed to compete at King of the Ring due to a result on a previous AWF show, but his suspension is continuing.
Okay.
Now, there are... Just telling everyone on the next episode of Uprising, I am actually putting in consideration whether to keep or fire NWO For Your Life on the air.
Okay. Well, this is a must hear for those in the roster of AWF and its fans. Also, I wanted to know, tell me a little bit about the current title pictures within AWF.
Okay, right now the current tag team champions are Rich and Famous. They just won the tag team titles, and I'm pretty sure they'll hold the titles for a while. Joseph Michael Ivorine, the man, he debuted at King of the Ring, and in his first night captured the Internet title.
Okay.
I'm a big fan of JMI, and I think he's the future of this company. I really like that he's Internet champion.
Okay.
The United States champion, Brent Thompson, he's held that belt since Glory Days a couple months ago. Brent Thompson, although he's not my favorite, he is an incredible talent, and I think he has high hopes for the future. And the most important, the AWF World Champion, Christopher Wonder, he actually just retained his AWF title at King of the Ring, defeating Sean Riley.
Okay.
And Wonder has been given a couple of shots in the last couple months, and even though he debuted just last year, he's been impressing people, being a successful champion thus far, and hopefully he keeps it up, because I really like Christopher Wonder, and I think he will be champion for a long time, as long as he doesn't make any mistakes.
Well, you seem like a very fair boss. Now, one thing I've been curious about, I've heard a lot about Uprising, and I wanted to know, is AWF one of those companies that is a one main show in regards to, like, for example, you have TNA, they do not want to branch out so far because they don't have the money for it. They're sticking with Impact as their show. You have the WWE on the other hand. They have enough money for it, so they go with Raw. They have SmackDown. They do their mini shows too, like Superstars and NXT specifically in Florida. I wanted to know, like, where does AWF stand on that level of their shows? Like, is it just uprising until the next CPV, or is there more to it than Uprising?
Well, in the past, we used to have 2 brands, but just last year we changed that and debuted AWF Uprising.
Okay.
Uprising is just, AWF just has one roster for now.
Okay.
I mean, in the future, we don't really have any hopes in the near future to make it 2 brands, but, all I can say for now is just keep watching, and you never know, something may happen.
Okay. One thing I have been curious about, because this has happened in other CAW federations such as CWS, somehow, some way there's been, I don't know if it was just simply management or whatever, but somehow, some way there's been connection within major wrestling organizations as well, such as the WWE and TNA. People such as Sting, John Cena, Scott Hall, and Kevin Nash have in some way or form signed contracts with these companies to compete. I wanted to know if there were any connections like this as well as in AWF.
Currently there is no professional wrestler signed to AWF from whether that be WWE or TNA.
Mm-hmm.
In the past we've had people such as Chris Jericho, Jeff Hardy, and Randy Orton on the show. Those were very short times.
Okay.
And they have since been released from AWF, and we don't really have hopes to bring them back full time, at least.
Okay, what is your this is a very, very serious matter, because I've discussed this with other companies, and it wasn't, some of this was on, has not been on the show yet, and I would like to do a full show on this. But with AWF, since we are specific with AWF, what is your take on women's wrestling?
Women's wrestling, AWF used to have a female division, but to be honest, I really thought before a women's division was needed, and I can make a women's division more serious and about the wrestling. But I soon figured out that when it comes to call wrestling, women's wrestling doesn't really fit because there really aren't any women, with the exception of a few, in call to do promos, and people, it's kind of sad, but it's the truth, don't care about women's wrestling.
Okay.
And it's not trying to be sexist or anything, it's just the truth. So if people don't want to see it, what's the point of having it?
All right. Well, now this is a very off topic from AWF. I since this has happened, this major event, I have been wanting to talk to. I will ask the same question for a few weeks on the show in regards to different guests. What is your take on this whole political strategy, so to speak, of Linda McMahon and her second run for Senate by releasing Abraham Washington for his joke, if you will, about Kobe Bryant, and yet in the past, the same year it happened, Big Show on SmackDown made basically the same reference. Like, what is your whole opinion of this controversy?
I think it's stupid on why AW was released. I'd understand if he was suspended, because there are people in the past who, if you do something wrong, like whether that be doing drugs, stomping on a flag, you get suspended, you gotta be punished. But getting fired, I think that's uncalled for. I'm sure Linda McMahon, it's been heavily said that she's had something to do with this due to her run for Senate. I feel bad if she wins for the people in Connecticut. And I feel bad for wrestling fans because she's basically, with her running for Senate, it's ruining wrestling because WWE, her opponents are using past WWE footage saying how edgy wrestling is. So what WWE does, they have to be more friendly and entertainment and like kids entertainment to try to get them away from that. But like it or not, they're still going to attack at that stuff, and there's no point to fire AW over a joke. Since worse has happened in wrestling. Just a few weeks ago, Vince McMahon made fun of JR's disease.
Right.
He said the N-word on the air, and that's okay, but someone makes a Kobe Bryant joke from something that happened like about 10 years ago, and you have to fire him. Like I said, I would have understood a suspension or taking him off TV for a little bit, but firing him, I think that's just uncalled for.
Okay, I totally understand where you're coming from, and I agree. Now, this is very interesting, and I don't think anybody's really thinking about this. But do you think, fired or not, it was a lose-lose for Linda McMahon? Because if he was, let's say WWE didn't fire him, and it just happened, worst he gets is like either a suspension or the primetime players who are supposed to get pushed towards a title picture, they're getting buried because of his actions. Let's say that happened, but then comes the Senate. It's like all these politics shows, they start airing reference to what happened. Whereas since he was fired, now fans of people who didn't really fully follow AW and they think it's stupid, they're the ones who are like, you know what? They might actually, like, I thought about it, we don't want Linda to win. And so, you know what, maybe we should call into these politics shows and be like, she represents this, I'm a follower of this, of the company she works for, but I think that it is true, it's being a true hypocrite to allow for this to happen a few years ago with like Big Show and in his rap battle with John Cena and all the other things that have happened to go unjustice, and yet you release some guy who is just starting to he's trying to let his career rise for him and the two people he is managing.
Mhm.
So either way, it is a lose.
Yeah, WWE's got to realize AWF, as far as I've seen, he's been getting a lot of fans on his side, and WWE, if I were them, I'd be smart and try to reach some kind of deal with AW, because the more he posts and the more followers he gets, the worse it will be for Linda McMahon. I guarantee you that, and
I think
it's.
Go ahead.
And he mentioned one thing, saying how Linda McMahon talked about creating jobs, and he says, "Well, I just got fired because of her," and if his name gets big enough where he's gonna be on these CNN or NBC or whatever the show may be, and he mentions this, Linda's gonna lose a lot of followers, and she definitely will not win in November.
I totally understand, and this brings up a very interesting fact. I wanted to know, because of all this trouble that has happened with politics and the fact that all the political shows, they have a tendency to dig into the past and use it as dirt towards people like Linda McMahon who have running for Senate. Do you know of, or has there already been any people within Call Wrestling who has tried to go into politics?
As far as I know, no. The only people in Call Wrestling who've done anything with politics is if George W. Bush or Barack Obama has appeared on anybody's show like SMF.
Okay. That was I actually had a friend who had he was very surprised to actually meet not George W. Bush but Barack Obama during SMF, and so he does have experience within that company. But I just wanted I guess what this whole Linda McMahon thing shows is that politics and wrestling don't mix. Now, what is the next? Is there any news that you would like to spread to the world of AWF, or just Call Wrestling in general in regards to the next show of AWF?
Okay. The next AWF episode of Uprising actually should be up in a few days after this recording. I don't know when this will be up, but episode 37 of Uprising is going to be a big 2-hour plus episode.
Okay.
It's a must see. You got to see it. If you didn't see King and Ring, you got to see that. Our next mega event we're going towards is Pain for Pride. It's going to be a huge night in AWF. I want you guys to check that out. And if you want to check it out, you just go to youtube.com/theAWF105. And on there we have all our links to whether it be Facebook, other YouTube channels, etc.
That is very interesting. One thing that that has come up in discussion, because I tend to get invited to different backstage meetings with my show to find out who from different promotions might be available. I always want to find out who's hot, who's not for my show. And one thing that has come up has been invitations to different promotions to just like sit back and watch the show or even do commentary. I wanted to know if that possibility has been open for AWF with anybody from any promotions. Like, do you see any interest from someone from, like, for example, CWS or any other promotions that you're just like, you know what, I want him to sit down and watch my show, because like maybe there's a little, like, maybe they don't think that a certain way about AWF, and they're just like, you know what, I want to prove him wrong, or be like, you know what, maybe he should come here and like just see how good the competition here is, have a front row seat, or do commentary, you know, like is there anyone of interest, or maybe should I come there to AWF to do commentary?
Well, I've always wanted some of the more popular call shows that, say, get thousands of viewers to check out my show for a long time now, because many of them actually know about AWF, but since we don't get the amount of views they do, they basically shit on us. And I'd like them to watch it now and judge it, because I really think they'd like it. There are some people who didn't watch AWF in the past, and I really wanted them to watch it, and they watched it. And as far as I know, they've all loved it.
Okay. Now is a very special part of my show. Unfortunately for me, I do not have my co-star with me, Mr. Nathan Money Roberts from CWS, who normally will do the silver dollar. So I will do it for him. What we tend to do here is, for the silver dollar segment of the show, it's similar to a shoot interview, except I will not say names. I will simply ask you, who do you think, give me some names and tell me, what do you see as their shining achievement so far in the company? Some people who you see shine out and really show that, you know what, these are the guys. I wouldn't say they're the top guys, but it's like there's something special going on with this one.
Okay.
So, Mr. Socko105, it is time for the silver dollar of AWF. Go.
The top moment in AWF history.
You can list that, of course.
Is that what you want me to list? Our biggest
moment? You can list biggest moments. You can list some of the top achievements of different stars that are making them shine out as becoming big stars.
Okay. There recently we had our WrestleMania style event, Glory Days 2, which I think is probably our most successful show to date, and it's helped stars like Christopher Wonder give a taste at the main event. He's now the AWF champion, and just a few months ago he had his first taste in the main event. Veterans like Mike Ryder and Tattoo Taker put on classics and made their careers bigger. Ben Hitman and Evan Rockville, when they put an end to their feud at Glory Days 2, it was a phenomenal match and just a phenomenal moment. All throughout their whole feud were definitely top moments in AWF in their careers. And some of the stuff that's been happening lately that's been really huge was the debut of talents like JMI, Bully Nate, and talents to come like Travis Sparks, CJ Hawkins, among others. You know, they're big moments in AWF, and it continues to make their careers and our company better.
Okay. Well, it's great to hear that. Who would you consider to be your Booker T of WWE? He likes to call it his Fave 5. Who would you consider to be your top 5, the top 5 superstars of right now? The ones where it's okay, these are the guys that are leading the pack right now.
Alright, guys who I think are the best.
Yes.
Basically. The AWF champion, Christopher Wonder.
Okay.
Sean Riley.
Okay.
This is gonna shock a lot of people when I say this. NWO for your life.
Wow.
Ben Hitman, and this is a tough one to name the last person because there's so many great people. I'll go with
Should we just leave the last space undecided because someone still has to prove their stripes as being that damn good?
You know what? I'll give that to Tattoo Taker.
Okay. Now, are you? Of course, we all know that Socko105 is a competitor within CWS, but looking from the fence over as the owner of AWF, just being the owner of AWF, would you say that you also view CWS as the owner when days you do not have compete?
Oh yeah, of course. I mean, there are times I watch CWS as the wrestler, but I also like to watch even shows I'm in, whether it be CWS or others, as an owner, so I can either pick up on stuff to improve my call show.
Okay.
Or sometimes as an owner, when I watch it, I can enjoy the show more, because when I'm with my wrestler watching the show, I'm was in character, and I have all these personal opinions. But when I'm the owner watching the show, I really think I enjoy the show much more.
Okay, that brings up a few interesting points that I'd like to bring up. First off, as the owner of AWF, looking over the fence to such shows as let's just stick with CWS right now, since that is a very regular company on my show. Who would you say, like, just looking at their roster so far, who would you say are current wrestlers that you're like, you know what, maybe that guy needs to come to AWF? Like a few names.
Oh, well, names I would like to see CWS. It'd be pretty cool to see Von Hollywood in AWF.
Okay.
Ryan Carroll, because I think he definitely gets a lot of attention. 420 Goonie would be pretty cool to have. I know he's not really a top character there, but I think he has the heart. There's just so many talents there's so many great talents over there in CWS that, I wouldn't mind having over. I mean, there are some people, I wouldn't want to have over, but,
All right. Looking over, and as a viewer, who would you say isn't getting the right amount of, like, they're not in the spotlight, so to speak, right now, but just looking at them, you do see potential. Like, who are a few names you see some potential in, looking at over at the company of CWS?
Oh, I see a lot of money Goonie. He's getting some attention now, but I don't think he's getting the attention he quite deserves. I think he needs to do a little more to get that attention. Some people who aren't really in the spotlight who deserve it are Lonnie Hernandez. Now, I don't like Lonnie. But the thing is, Lonnie, the reason he's not in the spotlight anymore is because he doesn't try. He had this huge opportunity, and he actually, I bet you right now, if he tried and put work into it, he'd be where a Neith Hinton or a Von Hollywood is right now. But he doesn't, I don't think he has the heart. He has the potential to be the guy of CWS, but he doesn't have the heart to put enough work in CWS.
I understand. One thing I do like to see is, let's say that let's say that there was a merger between CWS and AWF, and it came down to a draft. Who would you want to see as who would you prefer? I know you have a great roster. CWS has a great roster, but who would you prefer to say, you know what, at this time being, this person, like, maybe for improvement of their career or just out of personal reasons, you'd be like, you know what, you go to the CWS brand right now, and instead I'm going to take this person off of their hands?
Oh, it's like a trade.
Yes, a trade. Like, who would you trade, for whatever reasons, from your brand to the CWS brand in exchange for who?
I actually wouldn't mind exchanging, if I was going to trade on, Ben Hitman, the man who's probably the most popular, and some people even say like the quote-unquote John Cena of AWF. He's achieved a lot in AWF, and I really would like to see how he would do in a company like CWS, maybe for a little bit, and when he would come back, he would be so much bigger than he was before. Now, who I would trade, I'd like to see how Neith Hinton would do in AWF, because Neith Hinton is, without a shadow of a doubt, he is probably the greatest CWS individual to ever step foot in the ring.
Okay.
Now, he's only been in CWS. I really like to see if, at 42 years old, if he came over to the AWF, how he would do with some of the talents we have over here.
Okay. Now, this is a very shoot between the two companies. Who, looking at your roster and their roster, who would you say would make a hell of a dream match?
Oh, I know a big dream match, and it's actually going to happen soon. AWF's Evan Rockville versus CWS Von Hollywood, and that match is going to happen at Call All Stars 4. And to give you a quick description, it's basically a bunch of car shows get together and they put on dream matches. So there's going to be a match at Call All Stars 4 where it will be Evan Rockville making his return, going up against CWS Von Hollywood in a first blood loser works for the other man's promotion. It's going to be an epic night, and it's going to be an epic match. If anyone wants to any updates on that, you just go to the Call Stars Facebook page. But I know I just put a little plug out there.
Good.
It's a dream match everyone wants to see, and everyone's going to get to see. And I'm really happy we can would see that match.
That sounds very great. So that whole concept of loser works for the other promotion, do they have to leave their current?
No. For example, if Von Hollywood were to lose to Evan Rockville, he would still stay on the CWS roster, but it would allow in his contract that he can come over and compete for the AWF as well, and also the other way around.
How does that benefit the winner?
I think the winner gets the bragging rights, and I'm sure the winner, although they would love to compete for both shows, competing for many shows is a lot. And I know that from personal experience. I'm sure most people would rather compete for one show and put all their effort towards that. But now they have to put effort towards both shows, or if they have any other shows.
Would you look at it more so as a because I can see that happening, and like, let's say Von Hollywood loses and has to go work for the other company. I could see that happening, but would that mean that character would be not out of commission, but would be he wouldn't be seen on a few episodes of CWS Warzone because of the reason, and the reason being he's over at another company working, or would that just give an excuse that okay, that's why he's not here, he lost, or okay, I just wanted to make sure of that. But also, do you also look at it as maybe it's double standard? I mean, that gives someone an ability to maybe win a title somewhere else and be like, hey man, CWS just invaded your turf and now they took one of your belts.
Exactly. It's a bad thing for that situation, but it's all, if you lose that match, it's not a bad thing, because you can go over to the other show, you can win titles, and you could become a huge star over there, for all we know. But the thing is, you don't like to lose.
Right. Now, I have heard there was quite a bit of controversy over a few different wrestlers as of late in different companies. I know for the time being there was controversy amongst Mr. Travis Sparks of Call of Honor, and his controversy amongst owner of CWS, co-owner AJ Young, and co-owner Mr. Carter. I wanted to know if any of this controversy has affected your company, so to speak. Has there been any controversy, so to speak, in your own rights other than that? I mean, there's been controversy of that. There's been controversy of one Reggie Tiller, as well as others. I know Mattitude Status of CWS was fired, but then he just got recently rehired. I wanted to know if what's going on in terms of the controversy of backstage politics with AWF.
I'm sure, but just like every other promotion, there's controversy. There've been some people, such as Mason Chronic, and he was on my NXT show, and I basically screwed him out, which he was in a match where he would get fired. But I had to screw him because his opponent was Tattoo Taker, who at the time was the AWF champion, and if he lost, he would have left the company.
With the belt?
I don't know if it was... I doubt he would leave with the belt, but Tattoo Taker is always the number one or number two person in the company, and I felt it was more important to keep Tattoo Taker than Mason Chronic, so I had to perform a screw job to make sure that happened. Now, I'm not exactly proud on how it went, but you gotta do what's right for business. And there's been some other people who not liked how I do business, and some, like NWO and AJ Young, have spoken out against it. Some kept it a backstage matter, but for the most part, there's not too much trouble.
That's good. That's good. It's good that you're keeping your foot down and you're laying the law down and making sure there's peace amongst your company. Is there any? I know that in some companies they have like charity, or they do different events where different bosses or different people amongst the ranks of authority, they meet up for different events. Has there been like any meetings or events that have happened amongst owners or just AWF officials, like just for fun or just for charity amongst the organizations?
We haven't really done a charity. If there's any talent who likes to do charity, we do allow them to do that on their own time, but we don't have any obligations to do any charity work. And I mean, it's not because we don't want to, it's just because I don't think it's necessary to have some kind of required thing. I think it should be something talents do on their own without company commanding them to do so.
Okay. Well, this has been a very great interview, and it's exclusive only on the AWF YouTube page, as well as AWF's group Facebook page. Are there any other things you would like to promote or plug for tonight's show?
Sure. For all AWF fans, or people who want to become AWF fans, go check us out on YouTube, youtube.com/theAWF105, where you can see the current season of AWF. If you want to see past episodes, it's youtube.com/AWF105. Don't forget to like our group, ask to join our group page. There's going to be a lot of storyline advancing on the Facebook page, so you don't want to miss out. The link's on our YouTube page. Don't forget to watch Call All Stars, which AWF has a big impact on that event. Just like the Call All Stars page on Facebook, but we will also be giving you information on the AWF Facebook page. I really hope you guys check us out. I know you guys will enjoy it, and I look forward to seeing your viewers and the comments.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Socko105.
Thank you.
Thank you for such a great show.
And thank you all.
Well, thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, it was such a great show. Mr. Socko105, I want to thank you yet again for being here with us. And I hope to see you again under any circumstance on this show, or if you invite me to your show, I'd be glad to come. Ladies and gentlemen, that was just another edition of the David Bentz Show. Take care.